Our ancestors built the first city as a beacon of peace on Earth. And it almost was. Until one night, an unseen force plucked it from the very face of the Earth and placed it under unfamiliar stars. It was a bountiful world with no sign of civilization. A world we named Paragon. With no way to return home, we adapted. New governments were built from the seeds of our past, and with them grew new ways of life. But the vices of old still festered. Organized crime bled out from the shadows and took root, preying on the foundation of our new home. But this world had one more surprise in store. A mysterious element in the atmosphere that gave a fraction of the population superhuman abilities. Under the leadership of the city's first hero, the Age of Legends had begun. 300 years later, Paragon thrives under the protection of its champions. And yet, the shadows of the past still linger. When darkness rises, it will fall to the next generation of young heroes to defend the first city. Welcome to The First City, the show where we ask the question, how many buck wild events can happen to the same small group of people in roughly 3-ish hours?
Yeah.
The answer may not surprise you. It's a lot.
Yeah. I've been asking myself since the start of Volume 1.
So, welcome back, everybody. I'm just going to say, previously on The First City. The group prepared for Jeremy's interview in which he got to essentially plead his case, trying to reassure the public that he was not in fact a threat, regardless of his very explosive public appearance that kind of sent the city into a frenzy. So, it was agreed upon that Director Asher, Jeremy, and a neutral third party in First City News Network's own Jack Lopez were to meet for an interview in a smaller studio located inside the prestigious news network, a place that you guys are all too familiar with. So the interview seemed to go pretty well. You were pretty coordinated about what information you did and didn't reveal, though, against Jeremy's own request, Director Asher ended the interview by revealing the fact that the town of Amberley is, in fact, or at least has been previously, a secret testing facility as well as retirement community for classified agents of Alma. Jeremy did not take that very well, stormed out, and functionally ended the meeting immediately. Now, since the interview was not actually live broadcast, because obviously people would storm the building if they knew where it was, later on you guys gathered together with some friends in your house to watch the unedited footage. Shortly thereafter, early in the evening, I would say somewhere in the late 6s, the sun hasn't quite gone down yet. Pantheon rushed back into the house, ushered your friends out so she could speak to her team privately. Whereupon she informed you that she just received a phone call from Warden Fell, informing her that the Silencer, also known to you as Constance, has agreed to cooperate and testify everything that she knows in open court, in exchange for one more visit from Team Pantheon tonight. And she specifically requested all of Team Pantheon. And we pick up there in the room with you three and Silhouette sort of shell-shocked by this statement as Pantheon stands in the middle of the room, tense, just sort of waiting for a response.
What time is it again?
I would say it's in the late 6s. It's maybe like 6:40-ish.
So are we gonna go there now, or is this like a late night meeting?
We should probably head there as fast as we can. But take whatever precautions you need. If you agree to this, I should specify, you don't have to agree to this.
What do you guys think?
One, wait, no, I'm stupid. Karina, I think, is stupid. The knowledge that Jeremy is at Moonlight and on Team Pantheon is public to what category of people? Everybody now.
That he's at Moonlight,
Okay.
for sure. That he's on Team Pantheon, that one requires inference, because Pantheon, it is known that Pantheon swooped in and saved him. That doesn't necessarily mean he's on her team.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
But Constance does have the knowledge that the day that you all fought her in Amberley, Pantheon was there.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so it's reasonable for her to make the inference.
It is reasonable for her to make the inference.
So
Yes.
the Haremon
You also have no
doesn't
idea what more information she might know. I mean, for all you know, she knows way more than she told you.
That's true. I mean, if this is somehow part of the grand design and she can break out whenever she wants, then she will. So I see no problem in indulging her. Because honestly, what do we have to lose?
Jeremy, what do you think about meeting my clone?
Come into my lair, said the spider to the fly. I've made a lot of bad decisions. It's gotten me here, so what's one more? Sure, let's go.
Well said.
Silhouette gets up and leaves the room.
Like
Oh.
into her room?
Yeah. And you hear the sounds of like shuffling around.
I'll go and knock on the door.
She didn't close the door.
Oh,
Hey,
So you can
Sil, you are you okay?
You see that she's in front of her dresser, and she is, I'd say she has like rigged up some tech in her dresser that's like a keyed lock to her, and you see her open that, maybe with like a handprint or like typing in a code, and she pulls out that familiar black Daredevil style mask that she wore last time, and she turns to you as she holds it up to her head, and she goes, "I'm not wasting any time."
Well, you're way
Whoa.
ahead of me.
I love her. Natasha.
I gather everything I need to head out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, guys, give me like 10 minutes. Blah, 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 blah.
I would like to know essentially what you're bringing to this situation.
Disguised face. Hello, audio only listeners. That blah, blah, blah was me indicating that Haremon is putting shit on their face. I honestly forgot what happened last time. What were we allowed inside last time?
Well, last time you had Tara Baker with you,
That's
whose
true.
authority superseded everything. So you guys were essentially allowed to have anything that she wanted. You had your like recording equipment, that is to say your earpieces, like broadcasting over to Pantheon.
I guess I'm going to be bringing my anti-vitriol hearing aids and
Yeah.
I guess my disguise shades. I think that's pretty much it.
I'll bring collapsible stick. I won't bring actual stick. Because I don't think that he'll let me in with the actual stick.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess just ye old notebook in case any recording equipment is now. He's like, that was when you were with Tara Baker. You can't use that now. So I'll just bring the manual version, a notebook and pencil. But I think that's it.
BB will. You see BB go into her room, and she's in there for like a few minutes, and all she comes out with is this little brown paper package. It's like maybe as big as a little bit bigger than my hand. And she just kind of puts it in her pocket and heads over to Pantheon ready to go.
Okay. When Silhouette emerges, you see that not only does she have her usual cargo pants situation, but you see that now she has what essentially amounts to a tool belt, but it's just fashionable enough that it has kind of a fanny pack element.
Sick.
But I say tool belt because you can clearly see the various pouches. Who knows what's in there? But you also see that it straps down almost like where a gun holster might be. But it's got more of a squat, sort of round shaped holster on her thigh. And you see that she clearly has her electro whip thing that she has. But what you know of that thing is like it fits perfectly in there. And what it looks like is, if you guys remember, it's almost like a big like thing of measuring tape. So it all coils into this handled sort of round wheel shaped thing with like a handle that she can hold, and she can extend it out to whatever length that she wants. But currently it's all coiled inside this thing, and it's like tucked away like where a gun would be.
I'm just imagining like a palm size, like Hubba Bubba shape.
It is very
metal.
much like a silver actually, I don't think it's not like a gleaming silver. She designed it to be nondescript and look like some sort of like carpentry tool. So it very much is that Hubba Bubba shape, but it's a dark, almost iron color with just a simple handle on it. And you see, she goes,
Wow,
yeah,
she's so cool.
And she's like standing nearish the door. Pantheon looks you guys over and goes, all right, well, transportation is, let's say, taken care of. I talked to Dr. Quickstep before coming here, and as she opens the door, you see that she's wearing this silver wristwatch. She types something into it, and you see parked out on the street, shimmering slightly, you notice a shape that you didn't as you first looked out of the doorway. It is roughly the shape of a small shuttle. Very sleek, triangular design. It is a bit smaller than the more luxurious one that Tara Baker has, but you can see that the exterior of it has some sort of cloaking field around it. And as it shimmers to life, you see it's projecting essentially the environment around it to make it look cloaked. But once that drops and you see the gray and white exterior of this vehicle suddenly come into view, you can only imagine that this must be a Quickstep invention.
Thank you, Dr. Quickstep.
Say that again.
I already did.
BB, seeing that Silhouette is bringing her electro whip, will don the BB belt and kind of knocks it and gets into the shuttle.
Yeah, seeing that Silhouette is bringing like an actual weapon. I mean, a metal rod is a weapon, but I think Caramone at the last moment is gonna grab their not fancy knife, their normal knife. Yeah.
Staff, spear?
No, just the collapsible staff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am a weapon, so.
Yeah, you are the one.
Jeremy brings a gun.
Human furnace.
He's bringing you, so.
Yeah, that's true. What was
True.
the meme that you guys made? Like the gun, the fire guy, the hair. Anyway.
Healing in hair. Wait, I don't remember. Shit.
It's an old meme, sir, but it checks out. So you guys all enter the vehicle, and the interior of it is more roomy than it seemed from the outside. It has it's so weird that I the first descriptor I thought of was like a 3D Dorito, but it has a very smoothed out curvature on the inside with kind of a leather padding, so you don't see those harsh corners that the outside actually has. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
And there's no separation between the front and the back. It very much is like being in a car now.
Mm.
Pantheon gets in to pilot, and she looks back and she goes, "Everybody strap in."
She's gonna be ghost riding the whip. Crazy tech.
Buckle up.
As it takes off the ground with this silent, you see the cloak initiate once again. You can't really tell from the inside, but you can see the vague shimmer out the windows of something, the field reappearing. And you note that silent sort of stealth flying that Tara Baker's shuttle had is present here, probably even more effectively. It is a strange sensation to be in the air and not feel like you're in the air.
So we're fully soaring, flying.
Yeah, she takes you up.
She hates me so much. Oh my god. Okay.
Not
Once we
I was just
sorry.
going to say she doesn't go as high as Tara Baker needed to go, because that didn't have a cloak. It just was designed to look like a bird from a high distance. So she flew really, really high up to initiate that. This thing is camouflaging itself, projecting the environment that is around it to blend in. You can notice it if you look closely, but who's looking closely in the sky? So, she goes above the skyline, but she doesn't go like well up above the clouds. So, you can take that as whatever comfort or not that the Aramone does.
Jeremy will just, once they get to like the cruising altitude, he'll just start messing with Pantheon by just cycling through, "Are we there yet? I'm hungry and I need to use the bathroom."
Yeah. She's in kind of a serious mode, but she is open to conversation. And you guys have, you notice you're going pretty quick. You'll probably be there in 30 minutes. So if there's anything that you guys want to talk about or try to prepare for, if anything, you are welcome to do that. Otherwise, Pantheon doesn't initiate conversation.
I got nothing personally. Sort of just waiting to see what the hell this is about.
BB will look at Jeremy and be like, "I know you can handle yourself, but just be careful with her, because she's not your run-of-the-mill type of person, to say the least."
I have experience dealing with highly unstable clones, which is something I never thought I'd be able to say. But I guess on a somehow even more serious note, if things go sideways, do we have a plan for how we're going to fight our way out of a fortress that's designed to not be fought out of?
Gun, fire, invisible, hair healing.
Pantheon goes, "The plan is me."
Oh, yeah, and then
And
Sure.
then and an invulnerable god woman.
I was going to say that's not necessary, but my name is Pantheon. I won't pretend that that's not the motif. So you guys always manage to somehow allow levity to cut through a tense moment, which implies to me that I actually did train you pretty well. Then again, I don't know if I can take credit. Kind of something you're born with.
Because we all have just such naturally charming personalities.
Silhouette leans forward in her seat and she goes, look, I'm not going to pretend like I know anything here. But based on last time, I don't think Constance would try to hurt us. I mean, everything she said, everything she did, it was like she wanted, well, specifically your approval. But it's almost like she thinks of us as friends, which sucks.
But we can use it.
I just don't get the feeling like she wants to try anything, but it's everything else that freaks me out.
Exactly. Even if she doesn't, we don't know if someone else might want to.
Definitely concerned about the possibility of more vitriolized, mind-controlled people locking us in there. You've been kidnapped by the governments once, I mean...
I will not let anything happen to you. In so much as I can control those things, I will.
It would be very hard to kidnap all of us, including Pantheon, particularly because Pantheon is so famous. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm just more worried that she's going to say something, or just someone in general is going to say something that further, more like that further just throws us into the limelight that we don't really want. You know, like I got like a blackmail situation almost. Like I got dirt on you. Ha. So I don't know.
No, I think that we got to watch out for all possible scenarios and twists and turns. But yeah, I guess let's just hear her out, like we were saying.
I mean, no one can prepare for every possible outcome. People have driven themselves mad trying to. Even Dr. Guest can't do that. Not everything.
But we can play our cards close to our chest, at the very least.
And she pauses as you see the water beneath give way to that structure up on the cliffside. The big black spires and blocky structures, the gates surrounding Blackstone Prison. And she begins to pivot and fly down, descend toward the same tower that you landed on before. She says, cautious as you must be, don't be afraid to hope for the best outcome. If she testifies, it would help us a lot. Everyone. A lot. If anyone can make that happen, it's you.
So let's do it.
She types into the comms as she also releases the field, the cloaking field around the shuttle. And she says into the mic, "This is Pantheon, requesting permission to land on the northwest tower." And you hear a voice respond over the comms. "You are clear to land." You land on the tower, step out as the moon has finally just risen, with a dark, starry sky overhead and a cool wind blowing this high up. And you look around, sort of waiting to be greeted, and you see that currently that space where you know the elevator that Wardenfell can activate to head like down and up, that hole is there. So the elevator is like down. The platform isn't up here. And after a few moments, it does rise up, and you see Wardenfell, the familiar visage of him, with his glistening white suit. Just glistening might not be the right word. It's pristine, spotless white suit.
It's very wet, shimmering, glistening white suit.
His glasses do glisten, though, in the moonlight.
Ooh.
But he does take them off and smiles when he sees you all. And there's another figure flanking him to one side as well. A much younger, very antsy looking young man. He looks like he's probably in his early to mid 20s. He has a round, freckly face and big round glasses, like silver lined, perfectly round, oversized glasses that make his eyes look huge. And you see that he's got sort of a midway to a dark blonde hair that he's attempted to tame by like combing it back, but it just won't. There's just one piece that just doesn't want to cooperate. His shirt is like hastily tucked into his pants, got like a nice collared shirt buttoned all the way up. And you see that he's clutching a pad. I don't want to keep saying data pad because I know that's a Star Wars word, but a tablet. Hey, tablet's a good word. He's clutching a tablet with a stylus as he is keeping pace, like shuffling, very Marvin the Martian style, beside and slightly behind Wardenfell. And you see that he almost like fumbles as he tries to walk towards you. Go. Warden, they landed. And he goes, "Yes, Malcolm, I see that." And he turns to you all and he bows his head to you first before he looks at Pantheon. And he says, "It is a great pleasure to see you all again so soon, and hopefully under much better circumstances than our previous meeting. And Pantheon, I was hoping I would get to see you soon. It's been far too long." And he outstretches a hand to shake. She considers for just long enough that it doesn't seem like rude. And you can feel that moment approaching, and then she goes and takes it and she smiles. She says, "A lot of memories, Warden. Maybe not all good ones, but they're all good of you, at least. And I am glad that you've treated my team with respect. I would
Can I
expect
roll
nothing
insight
less."
on their history? Or like
Yeah,
temperature
just
check?
on their interaction.
Yeah.
What is it you're looking for?
Did Pantheon ever get thrown
If it seems like Pantheon trusts him.
Ooh.
So it's mostly on Pantheon. Okay. I'm not going to roll anything against this. She's not hiding anything necessarily.
What is this I'm rolling? Is it willpower or is it like
So you always have the option with insight checks to use our sort of proprietary insight mechanic. If you want to do a general insight to sort of look for this goal that you've specified of like, what is their history, you can just use a basic willpower. Or if you have any specific insight rerolls, you're welcome to do that. But the insight mechanic is such that if you are looking for a specific lens, for example, if you want insight into how strength, for example, plays into this interaction, or if what you're looking for has to do with like someone's intelligence, if you think that she's calculating in some way, if that's the lens you're using to try and relate to the information you want from this person, you can use whatever stat that applies to that lens as an insight check.
Yeah, I'll say I'm trying to see if Pantheon thinks it's smart to trust him if she's keeping back information. It's my intelligence just slightly better than my willpower.
Okay, so an intelligence-based insight to see if she's like kind of playing 4D chess here, trying to, yeah, that's good. I like that.
4D chess.
Drop one of those on the ground.
Gotta.
0 out of 2.
Oh.
0 out of 2. Wow. Yeah, you can't tell. She's convincing.
Baby's like, they're in love. They are in love and they're gonna get married.
They're both being very friendly to each other. And clearly, these people haven't seen each other in 25 years.
They're divorced.
Exactly.
You know there's a lot of weight to the situation, and you know she knows that. And there are so many factors to this in this moment. You just can't quite put your finger on what game she's playing, if any. For all you know, this is just her charisma. She seems to be acting this way.
All right.
Yeah.
Got it.
A valiant effort.
Are there any like cameras up here on the rooftop?
Ooh. Go ahead and make a perception roll.
There's gotta be.
There's
gotta
gotta be.
This is a high security prison.
1 out of 5.
One. I mean, the layout of this, it is a square landing platform. And at each corner, there are littler spires that come up, like one on each corner. You can't pick out anything that specifically strikes you as a camera at this moment in time. Yeah.
It's all right. It's not like I'm smart or something, so I should be able to do this. It's fine.
Baby will like reach her hand out to the weenie kid that's with Warden Fell. Nice to meet you.
Oh, you too. Hi.
Hi. What's your name?
I'm Malcolm. I'm Mr. Fell's assistant.
Baby. I am my own assistant.
Cool.
Anyways, she turns away.
So awkward.
Nice to meet all of you.
Nice to meet you.
And the warden chuckles a bit, and then he sobers somewhat as it dawns on you all, like, you've been standing here a little too long, and he has not started leading you to the elevator. And he looks over at Pantheon and he says, Pantheon, I'm sorry. I guess you must not have heard yet. I'm afraid I can't invite you inside. I want to. Desperately, I want you to be here. And I hope that this won't affect a rekindling of our friendship now that you are back among the living. However, it has been conveyed to myself and other proprietors of specific Alma facilities that until all of the fallout from our friends' recent actions have been cleared up, given your involvement in it, Pantheon, a compromise has been reached that you should not be involved in really any of this. That is to say, you are not allowed inside a government building. Just for the moment.
Oh.
Her brows furrow hard. And you see Malcolm squirms a little bit. Like he's in the presence of this like powerful figure. And she looks around at you guys just for a second and then back to him. And she deliberately softens her face. Maybe not softens, but at least removes the overt anger. And she becomes the diplomatic professional. And she says, Wardenfell, with respect, I understand this kind of thing is out of your hands. But if your charge puts my team in danger, you need to understand that no law will prevent me from entering this facility by any means necessary. Do we have an understanding? He smiles at her and he says, I would expect nothing less. It is good to see you again, Pantheon. And you are welcome to wait right here. I won't tell anyone that you're on our grounds.
She technically didn't enter. She's out of here.
As he steps aside to like gesture you guys toward the elevator, with Malcolm taking point on the other side, forming like a corridor of two men for you to walk through. Pantheon looks back to you guys. She huddles you up, actually. It looks like they kind of gave you your distance. And she speaks in a lower tone and she says, keep your earpieces with a channel open. I will be listening to everything. And if I get the faintest whiff that something has gone wrong, I will be there.
Act like I'm scratching behind my ear, but really I'm switching to
Maybe
our
nuts.
group chat, I guess, our group call channel.
Jeremy, who's disguised this night, turns his face into like that of a very sharp, slender features with even sharper eyes that like swoop out, and behind some very square rectangular framed glasses will reach out his hand and shake Pantheon's, and he'll slip a small little flaming gecko, and it's like, if anything happens, I'll just stop making this and then you can trash the place. Feel like it's a bit faster than words. Also, guys, Andrew Asp.
Andrew Asp. That's a good name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Phoebe doesn't say that out loud. That's Eric. Just to be clear, Phoebe doesn't go, wow, what a good disguise. What a good fake name.
I mean, given the circumstances, I don't think they don't know who you... But it's good, though. If any prisoners see you.
Or any lower level employees who don't know what's going on.
Okay. All right. What am I worrying about? You can handle yourselves.
Phoebe moves towards Wardenfell.
She takes a step back and just stands in front of the still open door into the vehicle that she promptly recloaks, and she crosses her arms and just watches you guys go. And you see that like Malcolm is looking at her out of the corner of his eye, and she takes a moment to enjoy that sort of strange deference, and she like flinches slightly, and you see him go like
Little weenie man. I think Harmon enters last and sort of does that motion when you're guiding someone in, but you're not touching them, to silhouettes back, and they look over their shoulder and they make eye contact with Pantheon, and they just nod before the elevator door closes. Yes.
Yeah, there's not necessarily an elevator door, because you stand on the platform and then it just descends.
Well,
but once
until
you're
out
in,
of
when
view.
you're out of view,
Yeah.
that's almost cooler, because you can like still like face her as your like eyes just disappear under the wall, and you return to that darkened interior with the lights lighting up as you move down this soft blue glow this time, until it lands. The warden opens up a door, and you are once again in that private corridor that leads over to his viewing room, where there is a table, several different screens that currently are not displaying anything, and you see that there are enough chairs for you to sit. He actually takes a seat. Malcolm doesn't. Malcolm just sort of stands at the ready next to his desk with his pad, like ready to write anything down. And he says, "Please have a seat. We should discuss a bit of a game plan before you run headlong into this situation."
Well, isn't it going to be just like last time?
I would say decidedly not. You see,
What-
this is...
What would be your suggested course of action?
This is very delicate, and my not so humbly professional assessment of her psychological state at this time. She places a high value on your opinion of her. There have been prisoners who have attempted to provoke her since she's been here. She hasn't had a single violent incident. She simply smiles. And I've had many personal sessions with her. So have others in my employ. We've all come to the same conclusion, that she, when asked about her nonviolent reactions to provocation, her response is always that she wants to make you proud, that she wants to be a hero, that she has her own goals. I think it's important that she feels comfortable, that this meeting is not so cold, formal, professional as the previous. I hope you'll forgive me, but I did suggest to her that this meeting should take place in the visitation room rather than in front of her cell.
Are you sure it's a wise idea?
Well,
You just said you're not sure of her mental state, right?
I feel very confident that she would not attempt to hurt you or compromise your view of her. She may have a warped idea of what a hero means, but for the time being, attacking the people who, in her words, inspire her, I don't think that would be in keeping with her intentions at this time. And for your safety, of course, there will be security officers stationed outside both entrances. There is a security field that can be operated and activated at your discretion, which I would be happy to provide. However, I do advise against it. And most importantly, she will be wearing power dampening shackles.
Inside check with intelligence to see if BB can logic out if this feels like it's a trap.
Sure.
And recording. Are we doing that? Are we not?
1 out of 2.
1 out of 2. Do I want to roll anything? Because rolling against Pantheon is one thing. She doesn't really hide things from you. But I need to set a precedent every time you roll against an NPC you don't know very well, so that whether or not the character is lying, you can't tell just because I'm rolling that there is something to hide, you know? So I kind of have to roll every time if it's not like Pantheon.
Roll, 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 roll.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not looking.
How many? Oh no, I need one more.
Oh. Hermon is standing full bravado next to Malcolm, by the way. I want to see this little twink squirm.
So I
Flexing
roll
on this
3.
fool. Got it. Okay.
So he seems pretty earnest as far as you can tell, but this is just a like butter smooth man, you know?
Can't believe he's not butter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a job requirement to be like unfazable in this line of work, you know? So that makes sense.
Wait, what are you doing to Lil Malcolm?
I'm just standing there, but like
Buffly.
Stands buffly. Not flexing or anything. My muscles can speak for themselves. But yeah, just
How tall are you?
5'9"? 5'9".
5'9". Okay. So you're like of a height with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like the teeny tiny man.
Not a little manlet.
But he is like, you can tell that he's super attentive to specifically Wardenfell, and he's waiting to like record anything he needs to, waiting to spring to go get anything he needs to. So he seems like he's not necessarily intimidated by your presence. Or at least he's not really focusing on the fact that you're there. Yeah.
Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit, but I think Hermon thinks like he's the weakest link in the room. So if anyone was gonna give anything away, it would be him. So I guess I can roll an insight.
On Malcolm?
Yeah. But Hermon's just watching him.
Let's see what
Because
this twink's hiding.
Sure.
He's
Yeah,
new.
what kind of insight do you want?
What would be looking for micro expressions? Just looking willpower? The willpower to not give
That's
anything
kind of a
away?
general, yeah.
Okay. Let's try it. Just for fun, because I haven't rolled this session. Yay! That's a 2 out of 3.
Okay. So looking at him, what are you trying to gauge exactly?
I'm trying to look at his micro expressions to see if anything that anyone is talking about gives anything away.
And you said 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So you see just like focus, attentiveness, there's kind of an anxiousness there. Like when the subject of silencer comes up, there is sort of like a, do I have to be near her kind of a feeling. Like that's the way that you read it.
I mean, same. Okay.
But to his credit, you can see why someone so young would get this job.
Lil homie knows what he's doing.
Because he does keep it together.
Yeah.
He looks like, I am laser focused on doing my job. I know the danger that I'm in all the time. So I'm going to be my best.
So recording, yes, no, secretly.
I believe that she is completely open to the idea. When I offered that up, she simply said that that would be up to you. She knows how important your identities, your discretion are to you. So it is at your discretion. I can record on the in-room cameras if you wish, but I won't without your express permission.
What do you think?
We have the capability to do it ourselves.
I can't hear that very well. I'm sorry.
I think everyone's actually like mumbling to themselves.
Gotcha. Okay.
Jeremy will just coldly and stalely, very uncharacteristically for him, he's totally in character, he'll just shake his head slowly at the warden.
That real asp energy.
Would it help ease your minds at all to examine the space for yourself before the meeting actually takes place?
I wouldn't mind it.
You wouldn't hurt. I mean, I don't think recording the in-room would be particularly necessary. I have, a way to do that already. So I think we should be fine. I just wanted to know the goals regarding that for this particular meeting.
Is there anything else that you need from me? And he folds his hands over the table. He goes, I understand you're doing a great service for this entire city, perhaps this world. I mean, forgive me, I don't mean to put undue pressure on you, but the outcome of this meeting could very well sway the outcome of a very loaded vote.
This dude is so sus. I mean, he's telling the truth, but he's so sus.
I think all we need is the reassurance that if she starts to get antsy, if we request something that you would normally deem unwise or unsafe, but we request it of you, that you will trust us enough to acquiesce.
Of course. And naturally, if something happens and Pantheon does need to enter, life or death situations always overrule such things, especially if the meeting is actually fruitful. I doubt public opinion would be against you, and therefore Alma would not be against you. She's your team leader, after all. It is at her discretion to save your lives if required, but I must assure you, and I mean no arrogance in saying so, but this is the most secure facility in the world.
Jeremy
we will not let anything happen to you.
Jeremy will just look at him and just sharpen his eyes and just say, Is that why Father Fear had to be moved elsewhere?
Got it.
The incident with Father Fear was shameful. And I do regret my part in it. Being in my line of work, especially one in the position of authority that I hold, the mind is something I respect above all else. To be reminded that my mind is fallible as well. Sobering, to put it lightly. I don't know how that information was planted. I did have access to Vitriol years ago. Spoke to him. I was using technology to block his power at the time, but I'm not sure how much you know of this city's history, what that man was capable of in his prime. But he could scatter messages across the far corners of your mind. He could essentially prevent telepaths from even being able to find it, because they're innocuous pieces. Any one of them nestles cleanly anywhere in your mind. He buries them in convenient hiding places and then can put them all together with a word. That's what he did. And I have had my very best telepathic associates rooting around in my mind, something that I strongly dislike. And they've found no memory, no indication of any clue as to why this could have occurred. So if he planted the command to release a dangerous prisoner that far ahead of time, it's maddening to think that I may never know. It's all the more reason why this day is of such great importance to me. And he tries to square himself up a bit.
The whole time, while Jeremy in disguise was watching and paying attention, he was watching Malcolm, and I want to see what Malcolm's response was to my comment and also throughout that whole thing.
Sure. So that's going to be
Really
a
don't
general
trust this
will.
swing.
Yeah. General will insight.
We're in danger.
6 out of 5. That's the shit that I do, baby.
Let's go.
Six, you said? So you were watching Malcolm during that entire exchange, right?
Yep, not making it obvious, but definitely keeping an eye.
Starting with the comment of
Father Fear.
Father Fear, right? You clock when you bring up this incident, his distinct focus on Warden Fell it remains, but only you can just slightly detect something shifts toward interest. It's like, it was purely like, I'm doing my job, I'm here, I'm focused. As soon as this subject started and he went in, like Wardenfell just went into that whole monologue, you could swear that there is now an added layer of almost like curiosity, watching, like almost experimental in a way. Like, how is the warden about to handle talking about this?
Jeremy will, using his mind, that little gecko that he handed to Pantheon, he'll change it in the palm of her hand and write out, "Everything is fine," and then give her a second to read it, and then change it again to say, "But Malcolm is sus as shit." And then he'll change it one more time. "I don't like him," and then he'll change it back to the gecko.
Interesting. Okay. Can you explain to me the mechanics of this power? Because I feel like I need to be making you roll for that. For the ability to do that.
It's just the control flame thing. It's just fire, very small in her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you're doing it like far away through several layers of walls with no eye line on her.
Yeah,
you're basically setting a fire in a known location without being able to see it.
Yeah.
That's difficult. So, and especially, how many D12s do you have in this power that you would be using?
1, but I have 5 intelligence.
Okay, so essentially too, like having D12s to accomplish different effects, that is how you can sort of clock how difficult something that stretches beyond the normal use of your power is going to be. So at 1d12, I would say this does stretch beyond the normal use of your power simply because of the reasons I just said, that it's far away, out of eyesight, and is a complex shape out of eyesight. So I am going to make you roll intelligence with your d12 to attempt to get this message across. And you're not rolling against anything, but you need above a middling success to pull this off.
Sorry, I'm just trying to remember how to add. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought that was a bad reaction.
Four with a success on the D12. So with all the dice I rolled, that's 4 out of 6.
Yeah.
4 out of 6 is 1 above middling. So you know that you have gotten across the sentiment correctly. You're not sure if the exact wording, like if it comes across like sentences like he's sus as fuck, but you know, like, you know that you have conveyed, I am suspicious of Malcolm, but we're otherwise okay. Yeah.
See, not even a big deal.
Okay. That was absolutely an opportunity for, like, that's stretching what your powers can do, and I encourage that with dice. So, little glimpse into some more fun mechanics of this game that I am always excited to do.
Can I do can we go to the visitation room, and can I just do an investigation check real quick on that?
Yeah, so he kind of clears his throat because I think that was just sort of a small beat of silence during that. And Wardenfell leans back in his chair, sort of almost cathartically. He seems like he hasn't really vented that out to someone, what he just said. And he sighs and he goes, I'm sorry, you didn't deserve to be witness to that. But suffice to say, if there is anything else I can do to help, I'll be here. Malcolm will be happy to bring you to the visitation chamber while I arrange for Constance to be brought to you when you're ready. Malcolm
Right.
kind of clears his throat a little bit. Okay.
After you.
He begins to shuffle his way out of the room, and he closes the door behind you all as you exit. And he begins to walk you down the corridor of similar, identical cells to Constance's cell that are completely walled off, and you see those segments where the walls can actually come up out of the ground and section off the littler visitation chambers that you experienced before. Currently, none of them are up, so there's just this long hallway with wall on one side and just sheets of metal and the dull hum of force fields behind that metal that you know are there. If you really strain yourself to hear, you can hear sort of nervous footsteps and occasional coming from some of the cells that you pass.
It sucks here. Supremely. Supremely sucks to be here.
True.
This place does live up to its name, this being the maximum security wing. It is that.
So we get there.
He brings you down the hallway through a kind of antechamber where you see that there are two guards stationed, like one on either side of the door. Malcolm removes a key card from a shirt pocket and he places it in the room. This being just like a visitation room, it doesn't seem like you need to scan or anything like that. This is very much I have the key to this room. It's not a dangerous room to be in, at least not normally. And the door opens and you see a room about the size of a spacious living room. There are chairs all along the walls that can be moved, and you see that they are actually on repulsors, so you don't have to drag them around. You can activate them and they'll hover, and then you can just push them to where you want them to be. There are more than enough chairs for you all, but Malcolm gets to work arranging them around the central circular table. And you see that it is dead center of the room, this circular table. And it has a clear crease in the middle of it where the table can actually separate. And that line, you trace it across the room and you can see projectors. And it is exactly as Wardenfell said. You can, if you choose to, activate or have activated a force field that will bisect this table. Presumably, she will sit on the opposite side of the table, you on this side. There is a door on the opposite end identical to this door, but the security officers do not accompany you inside. And Malcolm kind of waits at the door for you guys to just do whatever inspection that you're going to do. And you can clearly see, I will let you do an investigation afterward, but I will just tell you there are a lot of things that you're just going to see in general that don't require investigation first. Clearly there are cameras here, one on either side pointed down, angled toward the table, and then there are others angled toward the doors as well. None of the lights, indicating that they're on, are currently on.
BB looks at the kind of shield generator that bisects the table, and looks at everyone and is like, we probably shouldn't put that up with her, right? It's all about trust and... All right, and with that, she looks around and does a quick investigation. I guess with intelligence trying to look at where things would be even more hidden. Like, obviously there's the security systems, but where in the walls could there be hidden sensors, motion detectors, weapons, anything like that?
Love it.
Four out of 2, baby.
4 out of 2.
2 6s.
So looking around for hidden motion detectors, that's actually something that you do very distinctly see. Like there is a slight discoloration of the floor panels right in front of the door, so that if somebody enters or exits here, presumably someone somewhere in this facility, probably the warden, absolutely like whatever security people are in charge of watching these cameras, knowing what's going on in this room, would get an alarm indicating that someone has entered or exited this room. From what your experience has been with like scanners, especially from the PDP, which is also an ALMA program, so the technology would be the same or similar, it doesn't look like it scans your body. You don't see anything that is capable of doing a scan beyond a motion sensor that someone is here, and maybe a weight plate. So you don't feel like there's any record that it was specifically you or a bioscan of you that has entered or exited this room. But the thing that stands out most to you beyond that is that the wall to the right is actually, it's like pitch black, but looking closer at it, you can clearly tell that it is like the texture of a screen. But at the moment, that black is solid, but you know exactly what this is. You've seen this before. This can be turned into a two-way mirror or a one-way mirror, whichever one where you only see yourself, but someone on the other side sees in.
Yeah, two-way mirror.
At the moment, it's turned off, but you've seen this all throughout your life, especially like distinctly at the PDP. This is one that can be turned into just a wall or a functioning viewing chamber. And right now it is clearly like off. It's in wall form. No one is watching this.
Is it one of those kind of side rooms where if they were to turn a light or something in there, it would reveal the room from the vantage point that I'm in now? So like sitting in the visitation room, I could look past and see. It would become a window essentially into the monitoring room. Essentially, I want to look at the guard and point at the wall and say, like, I want the light on in that room so I know that no one's in there.
Oh, yeah, you can do that. You can essentially have one panel of the wall turned on so you can see into it.
Yeah, I send the guard out to do that.
You can also have the entire thing like turned on so you can see in there. Yeah, you can do that too. So you have that turned on and you do see just like a viewing room. There are some computers in there, but you see it gets completely cleared out. You see that there was somebody like cleaning it at the moment. It was not in use. But the guard like shoos out whoever was in there and like closes and locks the door.
Dope. Okay. I look at everyone. Are we ready?
Malcolm looks at you guys too and he goes, does anybody have any like drink orders, or can I get anyone anything? We have like a full cafe here. If it would help you feel more comfortable, that's part of
prison.
The prison cafe.
I mean,
they're on an island.
It's not so strange. This is a place where people can come visit. You know, we ought to have some non-prison type facilities. But
Sure.
if you want anything, I'm happy to go get it for you. Let you guys have some privacy while you investigate.
I think I'm okay.
Let's just get this over with, I think.
I will actually write on a piece of paper hot chocolate and very slowly and intensely walk over to him and then hand him it. Definitely trying to scare the shit out of him.
Very good. I'll go get that ready for you and inform the warden to bring Constance if you're ready.
Yeah.
I think we're ready.
Okay. See you in a minute. And he leaves and closes the door, leaving you guys fully alone. You can't hear anything outside. This place is soundproof. So you have like an undisclosed period of some small amount of minutes if you guys need to confer.
It's about to be party time, I say into the earpiece.
Man, I don't know what we would confer about at this point. I feel like we need more info from Constance, but Phoebe looks really seriously at Jeremy and Harriman and Silhouette and goes, wait, is his name Malcolm or Matthew?
Malcolm?
Malcolm?
What do we think of Malcolm?
Jeremy will completely shake his cold asp persona and just kind of flop back onto one of those repulsor chairs and see if he can like just kind of float around in it around the room, just pushing off the walls.
You fully can.
Oh, he does that. He'll also challenge Silhouette to a game of bumper chairs, but while he does so, he'll say, I don't trust that Malcolm guy. I think he's suspicious as fuck. And if you told me that he was involved in the whole brainwashing scheme that got Father Fear out, I would believe it in this heartbeat.
Why? That's Silhouette.
Yeah.
As she bumps into you, but her heart not in it. And she goes, because like, it's worth mentioning, I don't trust like anyone we don't know right now. And that's kind of the problem with everything we've been dealing with. And I'm trying not to let that affect the moment. I'm trying to let what Pantheon said kind of sink in. Because like, I don't trust him either, but that's only because I literally don't trust the warden either. I don't trust any person I don't know. So.
That's pretty fair at this point.
Well, after I gave the warden that sucker punch out of nowhere, I was watching him, and he seemed just a bit too curious about his reaction for that. I don't know. I've been around that a lot, and recently I've come to recognize it a bit more. But that's not anything we need to think about for right now. That's an existential threat that we can deal with later. Right now, we just need to meet the crazy clone, right?
Right.
Hey, we're all on the same team. If you say keep our eyes open in that direction, happy to, right? That's what we do.
I think we just hang out until Malcolm comes back with Constance.
Okay. Malcolm does come back, not with Constance, but with essentially like a coffee cup carrier. And
okay.
He's got the hot chocolate in one that's like steaming. There's a little packet of marshmallows that's next to it that you can like put yourself if you want to. And there are 3 waters as well. I think he has a water. There's another one too. And one has a lemon slice in it. Like an extra one. And he goes, I know you guys didn't ask for anything, but I don't know, man. Interviews, your throat can get dry. Water is important to stay hydrated. Constance will be along through that door. Here you go. And he starts arranging all of the drinks in front of you guys. Are you all like seated where you're going to be seated?
Yeah, is the lemon slice one for Constance?
He puts it on the other side of the table.
I
Bold of you to assume that Harriman will sit.
Okay. And he goes, okay, well, you got the ground rules. I think we're pretty much set here. And he goes back over to the door. He's got his tablet, the door that he entered from, that you all entered from. And he types something in. And he goes, I think the only other thing you need to understand is that if you call for Pantheon, people will die.
And there we are.
There we have it.
You hear as he types, really he's done typing and he's looking at you and he smiles a bit. He hits a button on his tablet and you do hear the doors lock. He walks around to the other side of the table and he sits. He takes out the back sort of kickstand of his tablet and he places it in front of him. And you see that there's a little rotator section on the table so he can place it down there and kind of lock it in magnetically and spin it if he wants to. Currently it's facing him. And he looks down at it and then back up at you guys. He reaches up and he smooths out that messy part of his hair. It falls neatly parted back behind his ears. And he says, I am sorry for the deception. It's not how I wanted our first meeting to go. But frankly, I didn't know any other way to meet with you privately without interference. And he reaches up, removes his glasses, and you see a similar effect to something you've seen very often, specifically with Jeremy. As he removes the glasses, his eye color changes, as well as their shape somewhat. They become more set, hawk-like. They go from brown to a pale blue. His round face becomes chiseled, but the strong chin sort of remains with a dimple. Perfectly clean shaven. He reaches up and he sort of adjusts his collar. And as he looks up at you now, you see a face familiar enough, not from personal experience, from history, though younger than you've ever seen him. This is still a man in his early mid-20s max. But this is the face of a younger Vitriol.
We were fucking right. God damn it. My first question to you.
Just too smart.
My first question to you is, does the anti-vitriol earpieces, do they have a recording functionality to them, or is that their only function?
There is nothing else about them that is let's put it this way. To introduce another frequency to the anti-vitriol tech is to introduce the possibility of interference, because the purpose of the anti-vitriol tech is to scramble at a very rapid rate the auditory information that you're getting and then put it back together just enough so it sounds basically the same to your ear,
like it's Spirit Box,
but changed enough, the frequency changed enough that the power does not work.
Well, Haramon was not wearing anti-vitriol for the express purpose of being able to communicate with Pantheon and record this meeting. So I guess I'm just fucked and I'm recording the meeting now.
He says, oh, sorry, were you going to say something here?
Looks like everyone has clones these days.
I guess. I mean, I suppose you would know.
Ain't suppose you would know.
I don't think there's anything I could do to decrease the hostile or tense edge of this conversation, and it's not what I want. Circumstances notwithstanding. But I understand how close you are with Pantheon. I understand the duty that you are sworn to, and I respect that. So precautions have to be taken. So just to get it out of the way, we'll do all the bad first, and then move on to the good. He turns the tablet to you, and you see a live feed of a camera inside the office where you left Warden Fell. You see him staring with a blank expression, straight forward, holding what appears to be a gun up under his chin, with his elbow rested on the table, just waiting there. And you see now that his, like, gravity has pulled his sleeve down because his arm is up like this. You can see that there is a kind of unassuming black strapped wristwatch with a silver face. And in the recording, you can kind of vaguely see it. Your eye is drawn to it, but he zooms in on that. And as he zooms in on it, you can clearly see that there is like a pulse, almost like a heartbeat. And it's reading steady at 101. And he says to you, Warden Fell strongly believes that if Pantheon or any other hero enters this building before I tell him that it's safe, I think you know what'll happen. And if his heart rate drops to 0 or increases to or above 120, failsafe will be activated, and every cell door in the maximum security wing will open. And I tell you this only as a measure of security so that we can actually have a conversation. As I said, I don't want this to set the tone of any relationship that we might have. I'm not the silencer. I'm sorry, Constance. I don't have a touch of madness brought on by memory. What you're looking at is 100% me, not vitriol. Thoughts, opinions?
I had you pegged the second that you walked in. I knew you couldn't be trusted.
I believe you. To your credit. There's a reason he picked you, after all. But we can talk about that. I intend to. I want to fill in blanks that have been left for you by people who don't have your best interest at heart. Even if they think they do.
With the implication being that you do.
Of course. Though, I will freely admit that I am... Let me put it this way. My first and only priority is the security of this world, starting with the city and its future. A future that you all are irrevocably tied to. There are others who would wish to keep that from you, let you sail into that darkness alone. I can understand the perspective, given what happened with my predecessor. Two wrongs don't make a right. Not in my opinion, anyway. And I would like to make it right. But I'm not Vitriol. See, he believed that those who were unwilling to do the right thing themselves had to be forced to. And while that does get results, it's not real. Lasting change that's forced on people, it doesn't stick. They have to choose it for themselves, build systems of their own. The foundation he left behind, well, frankly, it's crumbling. And that would be why. I want you to choose to work with me. Choose to embrace a future that you can change.
And your plan for your first impression is to lure us, trap us, lie to us, and literally hold a contextually innocent man at gunpoint.
Functionally, yes. Though, to be fair, I only handed him the literal gun. And even that, not really. He keeps it in his drawer. See, the way my power works, it's stronger if it's built up over time from a seed of actual fear, actual paranoia, actual feelings. It doesn't have to be those negative, but it's easier to build on a belief that already has foundational structures. And he is afraid for the future of this world. That heroes left unchecked on both sides of the fence can be a danger. He's been at gunpoint for a long time. And I'm afraid so have you. Tell me, honestly, would you be here alone with no possibility of interference from Pantheon or anyone else? Would you speak to me knowing who I was? Because I don't think you would. I think you might want to. But I don't think you would be able to.
I don't think that you know me very well then.
Yeah, you talk a lot about choice, but you didn't give us a choice in this. Ironic, don't you think?
Then let me give you one. Shall we start from the beginning? No, I think you already know the beginning. A man told a horrible truth, turned him into something, a force for forced change. See, everything you've seen up until this point, well, most everything, was a plan left behind by a man with great vision, clouded by ego and anger, two things that, frankly, I have not the patience for. In fact, I don't have much of the great historical patience of my predecessor at all. Might be a design flaw, but it might just be humanity at work. My associate, Dr. Fine, was carrying out that plan, but I'm here now. I'm in charge. And I want to do things a little bit differently. Starting with your unfortunate lack of knowledge. You see, you're getting so close over and over again. But Jeremy, you're the key to everything. Vitriol left behind the truth that Dr. Guest told him all those years ago. He left it in your mind, scattered it across its corners, spoke to you in your sleep, knowing the Johnsons would keep you alive. Your parents. Inside you, under their stewardship, would be the safest place that information could possibly live, just waiting for me to find it again. And again, I am sorry for any deception, for frankly kidnapping you. But I needed to know that it was still there and that I could find it. I could prove it to you if you like. There's a phrase that I could speak that would send you back to that, it seems kind of archaic to call it a hypnotic state, but it is the best way to put it so that you can understand. And they can hear it from their own teammate's mouth if they'd prefer it, if it would sound more honest than mine. Or I can tell you a piece of your future. That is, despite what you may have been told, all of our future. Or you walk away. Take this information to Pantheon, to Fortress. Tell them that piece of information is in fact what this is all about. And watch as they still don't tell you.
You act as if we aren't okay with not knowing.
It's easy to say about something you don't know. And I understand with only my word, there's not much reason to believe it.
I look over at Jeremy and I say, it's up to you. Do you want to go under this hypnosis? I want you to do whatever's safest for you. Had a lot of people poking around in your head recently. I don't think we need any more.
Jeremy will look over at Silhouette, ask her opinion with just his eyes.
Why should we believe anything he tells us? He's going to do exactly whatever he wants, no matter what we choose. And say he tells us, what do we have to go on that it's actually true? I don't care about it affecting our behavior. I'm going to do what I'm going to do too. I said before that I didn't care. I still don't. This one's on you guys. I'll support you however you want. But we need to do whatever is going to keep Wardenfell and everyone else in this place safe. If that's playing along for now, Pantheon will find us later. Right? And she's looking right at him. You place a lot of faith in a woman you know so little about, who you know for a fact has lied to you. A fact. That's the thing that you actually have to go off of, isn't it?
Again, you act like, well, I'll speak for myself. You act as if none of us, certainly not I, haven't lied to Pantheon as well. But Silhouette's right. Whatever is the safest option.
I have no relationship to Pantheon whatsoever. You forget, I'm not Vitriol. I know the price of memory, and I don't want it anyway. Why do you think I'm going against his plan? No. It's the one thing he didn't account for, is that I wouldn't want to be him. Can you really trust a man and the validity of a man who goes with the name Vitriol once it's given to him? I mean, that's a man who knows he's a villain, right? I prefer his original name, Veritas, because that is what I offer you. Truth.
So just to clarify, our options, this is for Eric, our options are he tells us verbally what he's planning, he awakens something in Jeremy's mind that also gives us information, or we walk away.
That's what he said.
Whatever's locked in Jeremy's mind feels like it's probably something that you need that you don't have yet, right? So maybe we do just walk away. So no matter what you're planning, we're going to stop it.
What I needed from Jeremy was the truth. The truth told to Vitriol that Vitriol planted there. And I received that. It took quite a bit of digging and help. But I know what I need from you. What Dr. Fine and Vitriol wanted from Jeremy, well, they've already got. A figurehead for the discord that is now consuming the first city and spreading like a cancer out into the rest of the world.
So why do you want us on your side? Just to create more discord?
Because Vitriol wanted to prevent the goal that he learned of, to defy it. I want to work together to get there first. I need your help. Because if not us, someone else, someone with greater power, greater influence. You're not from the first city, are you? And he looks at Haramon.
Irrelevant.
Well, it's relevant in the sense that you can understand the fault in the systems they built here. You've been out in the world, I can only imagine. And if you have, then you would know. The arbitrary limitations on powers, it all comes down to perception. The things people are capable of outside of a system designed to control them can save this world.
How about we back it up?
Hmm.
You explain Vitriol's plan. Explain when and how you were created, if you can. Explain
Explain. Vitriol's plan was half-baked. He simply wanted to prevent... I'm afraid there's no way to express his goal without revealing to you the truth that I know not yet if you want. But suffice to say, that goal was everything. To prevent something very specific. His means of doing that were, goal-wise, not too far off from mine, to allow the systems of Alma within the first city to expose themselves for what they are. The silencer, Jeremy going missing, riling up the public, all of these things, they could happen at any point in history. They just happen to be happening now. But we're not influencing the public's vote on a mental incursion bill. We're not influencing a scientist, and he looks over to Bibi, illegally experimenting and covering it up. No. These are all things that they've done all on their own. So in a sense, the plan has worked. It is working. The people of the first city will rise up. They will raise those systems to the ground and build something better. Pure freedom of choice. And then, when that day comes, there won't be a Tara Baker to seize control, to take the reins of the horse riding into history. That's my goal as well. Beyond that, well, until I know whether or not you're going to help me, frankly, there's no reason for me to explain to you the rest of my plan.
What's the phrase? Yeah, come on, cowboy. Let's go. In for a penny, in for a pound. And I've got a whole bank deposit on this.
BB looks ready to follow Jeremy's lead and kind of listen, but looks over at Harriman to see what they're thinking.
Every inch of Haramon's body is tense and like almost as if they're ready to pounce. But they have enough sense to keep it reined in, to only strike if attacked.
I'm proud of you, Jeremy. And please remember, you did ask. You won't feel a thing. The timbre of his voice begins to sort of deepen. He sets his very square jaw. He folds his fingers over the table and he straightens himself perfectly up in his seat as he locks eyes with Jeremy. And he says, dark room, open flame, luminous, perfect match. And as these words hit you, with each one, Jeremy, you feel waves of exhaustion, peace, and calm overtaking you. Your mind is emptying. You feel it flushing out. You've often imagined the sensation of clearing one's mind and how impossible that really is, despite how often you hear it in fiction. It's impossible for your mind to be empty. But you feel it. as if for the first time in your life you are aware of yourself falling into the moment that you fall asleep. And Jeremy, your awareness is gone. No dreams, no nothing. And you all watch as Jeremy's eyes flutter and close, and he slumps back in his chair and breathes steadily as though he's sleeping. Peacefully. Veritas smiles. And he unstraightens, leans back. He says, Jeremy? And Jeremy's eyes open, but they're glassy. What did Pantheon tell Vitriol that changed his life? What did Dr. Guest know? And Jeremy says, almost instantly, Pantheon's team will open the way back to Earth or die trying. And he snaps his fingers. And all at once, Jeremy, you become aware again. No idea what just happened or what was said.
Jeremy, did you hear yourself?
Did he already do something? I mean, I got a little sleepy, but
Yeah, you just said that we're gonna open the way back to Earth, or we're gonna die. And so Phoebe looks at Vitriol, whatever his name is, Bad Malcolm, and says, so you want us all to go back to Earth?
I think a return to Earth is inevitable. Vitriol didn't. He crafted his belief system around the idea that to return to Earth would be a regression, it would destroy us. That we were given a chance here by forces unknown to rebuild in a place that was tailor-made for us. Think of the place we left behind. I mean, our ancestors, they tried. They convinced themselves that they had found peace, that they had built a city of peace. But we know these things, they don't last. Not like that. That place was overpopulated, polluted. Who knows if it's even still there? But some day or another, the people of Paragon will swim back to the idea that they can go back. And one day they will succeed. While Vitriol tried to prevent it, believed he could, I believe we need to make that moment count. Because people like Tara Baker, people like the Johnsons, even Albert Rose, all of them represent something that should not be brought back to Earth. You want to hand them over control of 2 planets? Would we be bringing Earth the power of this place? Would Illustrium carry over? Would people of Earth suddenly be infected? We don't know how this thing works. All of these factors, controlled by a corrupt government, or we seek it out first and we take the choice away from them. I have no intentions to rule anything. I don't believe in survival of the fittest. I believe in what is right and what is wrong. So, come with me. Help me burn corruption out of Alma. Help me open the eyes of the people of Paragon and allow them to tear it down themselves and build something better. And while they do, I'm not saying I believe in destiny. I don't think I'm old enough to have such deeply held beliefs. But I do believe in greater forces at work that we don't quite understand. The thing that brought us here in the first place, whatever or wherever it may be. I believe that we've only begun to understand what we are capable of. So, if Dr. Guest saw this vision of our future, maybe we can meet it together. I want to.
BB looks at him and says, "Can I ask you a little favor?"
Oh, now that we're such good friends.
She reaches into her pocket and she pulls out the little brown paper package that she took with her from the house.
Mm-hmm.
And she unwraps it, and in it is just a little book, like a children's book, but not like a picture book, like maybe like a third grader or something around that. And the cover is pretty worn and faded, but it just has this cowgirl alone in a field, and it says, the title is Lonesome in the Pasture. And she just pushes it across the table and says, someone used to read that to me, but I think that she could probably use it more than I could, at least right now. Because I'm going to leave here with my team. She's still going to be here alone. But hopefully someday she won't have to be. Or at least she won't have to be alone with you. And she'll stand up and start walking towards the door.
As you start walking toward the door, which is an industrial strength door that is locked digitally.
Yeah, that's why it's such a power play.
Yeah.
She doesn't know if this shit's gonna open.
You step up to the door, and in that moment of pause where it's like, don't know what to do now, he stands up as well. Almost as though you're at a dinner table where one of the guests stands and the host graciously stands as well until they're off to wherever it is they're going. And he says, "You're lucky to be so noble after everything you've been through. And the world is lucky to have you. But you misunderstand. I said you could leave. I didn't say you could go back to the academy. He reaches up to an earpiece and he says, Lane, we'd like to come home now. You see a singular point. At first, it almost looks like a bubble appears in the corner of the room behind him. And then it grows rapidly, like a bubble of static electricity. And you see almost like pale blue lightning spiraling across this orbed surface that continues to expand. It's almost like Tesla orb without any glass. And you see a tall, slender shape inside. And as the bubble dissipates, you all feel, even just in proximity to this, the hair on your arms is standing on end, so close to the static electricity. And you see standing there in this bubble a figure who looks sickly pale and gaunt, with bloodshot eyes, kind of hawk-like features, electric blue eyes that are the same color as that static electricity that you just saw. And you can see that there are lights and some sort of sewn-in patch, about the size of a small patch, maybe the size of a quarter, of technology glinting against the lights, like circuitry, on either temple. And the face is just slack.
Before he gets a chance to do anything else, Jeremy will use its power and just summon fire in Veritas's mouth and make it explode. He's trying to burn his tongue off. Spicy.
I was gonna say something a little less spicy.
Go ahead
Shit.
and roll for that.
If I check my earpiece, which has been supposedly both broadcasting and recording to Pantheon, do I get that interruption like I did at Decker's?
No. Actually, it's functioning perfectly fine. Seems like he was okay for her to hear this.
4 out of 6, no success on the power.
I only got one. So let me see the damage on this.
Bite each other's dicks off.
Do I roll damage?
Yes,
It's
you
just
did hit.
1d6 for damage.
What was it on the power die?
No success.
Yeah, so it's 1d6.
And then I add my willpower to it, or my.
You need a lot of damage at once to actually sever a body part. I just want to see how much you get here.
7 points.
7 points. Okay, so here's my thing. You would need 10 to actually do like a lasting damage to that, but 7 is like close. That's gonna hurt. And you see that he is like just about to just ever so slightly turn his head over to look at this figure who presumably is named Lane. And as he opens his mouth to speak, you do see a burst of flame, and he's able to move his head enough that the point of the flame, it doesn't stay in his mouth when he moves, but you see it singes across his lips, and as he wipes his mouth, he looks over at you, and in a very short, like one turn amount of time, he reaches up to his watch and looks as though he's about to hit a button and you see that it is the same style as the one that Wardenfell is wearing. And as he goes to touch it, all of you at once hear a distinctive voice in your minds, one that all of you have heard before. A voice of someone that you, Jeremy, would know as the whistleblower, devoid of any sort of noticeable feature, simply sound, understanding of a word being spoken. And it simply says, help. And in that exact moment, you see manifesting out of the ground, out of the shadow that Veritas is casting, a similar shadowed form that you've seen before. At first, it moves, it does move the same as the ones you've seen before, but it begins to calm, and it reaches out toward you with a hand. It's featureless at first, but then the face begins to morph and change. I think Haramon being the most perceptive, you do notice that Veritas is like stopped by this. He he doesn't go to hit the button. He's like, and that look of interest that he displayed earlier when he was still Malcolm is back on his face. And he turns to look at Lane, who is just having no reaction to any of this, who looks like awaiting command. And he turns back to you, and he makes to try and step forward. But in this one moment, before he can even reach you, before he can get to the other side of the table, you notice that the face of this shadow morphs into that of a man that you've never seen before. And it's shadowed, so you can't really exactly make out age or anything like that. You just see a slender, more humanoid face appear, and it looks like straining, determined to stay in the shape that it is, but it breaks, and the face shifts into a round face of a young girl. One that you faintly recognize from pictures of Kate that you've seen. And you hear again that voice in your mind say, help. And the hand reaches out to you, and the shadow expands. It explodes around you in a bubble of darkness. You all feel this cold, tingling sensation, like what you would imagine you would feel if a ghost passed through you. You see nothing but darkness for a split second. And before you even realize what's happened, you feel a tingling on your skin. You look around you. You see your friends. All of you are here. Veritas isn't. Lane isn't. You're all intact, though your hair is like the hair on your head as well, any beard hairs that you might have, like everything is standing on end. And you feel fried. It feels like the energy of your basic being has been pulled from you, and there is a wave of tiredness that just overtakes you for a moment. But the shadow isn't here. You can't pick out any shadow. You're in a room that is completely dark. You're close enough to each other. You are all standing together. You can feel around. You can see a dim light. And the light is coming through an opening some 20 feet from where you're standing. And you can see beyond. It feels like you're in an elevated position somewhat. Because outside, you only see a starry night sky. But inside, you just see sort of darkness around you. And it smells kind of dry. It's warmer. It's much warmer where you are.
Oh, no.
And it's quiet.
Jeremy will use his power to make some sprites to try and get some light around us so we can see where we're going.
As Baby does that, or as Jeremy does that, Baby will look around to see if that shadow person is still there.
You look around, and because it is pure darkness, there's no shape of a shadow to be. You just see a dark room until Jeremy casts. So Jeremy, you cast a small light and you hold it up and you look around, and you're very distinctly in a cave. It's not very big. It's like the size of like a studio bedroom. You see the remnants of a fire in the center that hasn't been lit for several hours by the look of it. Just from a passing glance, like that's probably a check of some kind, but it's clearly not, there's no heat coming off of it and there's no embers. So it looks like there's ash, like it's been used before, but not like very recently.
That's a 2 on a tracking or a perception. It doesn't matter. I mean, Haramon's just saying, like, looking for when the last person was here.
Right. So you can very easily see, like, it's not very tidy. In fact, you can see elements of orangey sand tracked throughout this place, and it's spread out in such a way where it's like people have walked around here. What did you roll out of what? It was
2 out of 3.
Out of 3. Okay, that's pretty good. So it doesn't look like a lot of people have been here, but you very distinctly see that there are very simple bedrolls on either side of the fire, 2 only. And there are what look to be the carcasses of some sort of small animals or something. There's like some cooking supplies. There's like some pots.
How old is the what's the word? It's the word when decomposition. How bad are the carcasses? Like, how old are the bones? Has the bug cycle already gone through?
No. They're very recent. They have been butchered for their meat, and some of the bones have been piled up in different places.
Okay.
And there might be some like fat in the ashes as well of the fire, so it looks like they've been cooked recently. But it doesn't look like people have been here for too long. Just like maybe a couple days, few days. And there is no sign of the shadow. There is only your own shadows against the flame that Jeremy has created.
So I think Haramon takes a bit of the ash of the fire. You know, they do their tracking thing that the team has seen them do before, and they still crouched towards the fire. They rub the ash and ember in their fingers, and they just sort of look around, and they say to the darkness, "Was this your hidey hole too, Kate?" And they flick it off of their fingers, and they stand up and they go towards the mouth of the cave.
Okay.
I follow Haramon.
As you guys walk over to the mouth of the cave, you look out over a vast expanse of rocky desert.
Yeah. I try to boop, Pantheon over the earpiece, and I try to use my cell phone as the amplifier, as I've done before.
You go to activate the earpiece. You don't hear the static of it's not working. You just hear nothing. There's no response to the pressing of the button. And you look at your phone and it's just dead. It's drained completely. And Silhouette sees that. She reaches out and she starts just testing all of these devices that she's pulling out. And she's like tinkering with stuff, and she goes, fucking shit. Whatever that was, there was a huge surge of static electricity. I feel tired. I'm getting it back. I'm getting the wind back. But from what I can tell, whatever that was, it sucked our innate electricity and the electricity of anything around it to pull off the teleport, I guess. So our devices are dead, but anything mechanical should still work with a little love and care. But we're incommunicado.
Stuck in and or near Nova West with no way home.
Make a perception check as like out into the where you're
Yeah,
looking.
can I look around the landscape for like anything?
Yes.
Would that be a perception check or would it be? I'll just do it because you told me to. I'll do it.
I think it's perception just because you're looking out to see what you see. But if there's something more specific, you're welcome to.
I think that's 3 out of 3.
Nice.
Oh, 2 out of 3 again.
2 out of 3 and 2. So between the two, yeah.
Can I check the constellations?
Sure.
Ooh. Actually, that would be
Ooh.
more helpful for me. Can I turn that into an astronomy instead?
Maybe wouldn't think of doing that.
I don't want to get in the habit of retroactively changing what a roll was for.
I can roll astronomy separately. I can do.
But at
roll
the same
again.
time, I did ask you to do perception, so without asking like which one, how you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So
Please,
It's fine, it
please
can
let
count.
them. Please let them do astronomy.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll again.
yes,
Yeah, I got 1 out of 5. That's embarrassing.
Shit. Fuck. Damn it. So the same thing. I guess I can't roll higher than 2.
out of 3.
2 out of 3. Yeah.
Okay, so Jeremy, you're looking at the stars and you're like, it's the stars. But between Haramone and Bang Bang, you put out the vibes that this is in or near Nova West, but you're looking around and you don't see any structures. You don't see a town. The only thing that you can make note of is out on the horizon, probably like what you would surmise as, ooh, this is where my lack of understanding of spatial like distancing comes into play. It's like several miles away. It's like way out on the horizon. It would take days to walk there, but it's like a big structure, so you could see it from this far away on this flat expanse of desert. You see some sort of outcropping of rock. At first, when you see it, you almost want to say that it looks like there's a town over there. It looks like buildings. But as you squint at it and you look under the moonlight, it's jagged and jutting up at these different angles, and it is about the size of a small town, but the way it's interconnected, it's very clearly natural rock formations, almost Stonehenge like. And BB, with your full success, right, you know instantly, like, hold on, desert, big natural rock formations that look like a small town, that's probably Stonekeep. The place that you remember researching before, the place that is essentially just a makeshift shelter town for just people who live out in the desert, who just sort of found each other and made a small community there of like hunting and taking shelter in the rocks and caves that form there. You also know the main reason you researched this before, it was initially because Director Asher told you this is where she first found Kate. This is where Kate was like from, was Stonekeep. And you clearly see that on the horizon. So Nova West would be somewhere like farther west than where you are, like significantly farther west, across No Man's Highway, which you don't see. So you're still, wherever you are, you're still far enough away from No Man's Highway, or No One's Highway, rather. Some people call it No Man's Highway, but officially it is on the books, it's No One's Highway. You don't see that, so you're far enough away that you're like not there. But that's kind of where you get your bearings. You are somewhere between No One's Highway and Stonekeep.
We're far away from No One's Highway still, but I think that's Stonekeep. She looks at everyone. Looks like the only place for miles and miles and miles around.
Between How far is the nearest actual city that isn't Nova West? Because I don't really want to go the no entire direction. Don't want to go that way. But
Actual city?
yeah.
Psh, the closest Alma city is way farther than you could reasonably walk.
And the Badlands are even farther than that. And
there would be what you would understand to be a crime city that would take probably several days to walk. If you would even want to go to such a place. And as you're considering this, you're looking out into the desert, you hear a distinctive scream pierce through the night air, not too far off. It's somewhere sort of around the cave. And outside the cave, you do notice you're about like 15 feet up, and there's a little plateau that curves around naturally, so you can walk out and like curve around and look if you wanted to. But at the same time as that scream, you also feel a harsh rumbling beneath your feet through the earth, shaking. Just you all kind of like brace yourselves a bit, and you feel it moving past and around in the distance, and you hear something, an eruption of sound, horrible clicking sounds, and that scream once again.
Baby runs to the noise, but is trying to stay behind rocks and certain structures. Hidden.
it's pitch black out, right? Because there's no lights and it's nighttime.
Yeah, there is just a very bright moon and no like pollution between you and the stars. So
But is
you
the,
can see.
so the moonlight is bright enough that we can see if we look out
Yes.
stuff.
It's
Okay.
difficult-ish, but you can see the landscape around you.
So this cave that we're currently in, is it close to the top of the rock formation that it's
That you're in.
That it's in, yeah.
You look up and there's another maybe 20 feet up from the top of the door, the opening. So you're 15 feet up and there's another 20 feet beyond that
And BB's going
around.
around. I'm gonna go up so I can get the vantage point.
Okay. Both of you go ahead and give me. This is going to be like climbing, which I
Yeah.
don't think either of you have a specific climbing skill necessarily.
Oh.
So this is probably going to be strength-based, athletics-based climbing. BB, because you're going down, I would let you do agility if you wanted to, because you could like scramble down on specific, like there is a path you could take that goes down easily that does not require great strength.
2 out of 3.
Okay. Okay. So 2 out of 3, both of you are able to do that. Silhouette has to make a judgment call here as to like where she wants to go. And given that she's not like a melee fighter, she's not going to run toward the action. She's going to climb up with Haramon. So Silhouette is with you.
Okay.
And because she's not here, I'm not going to roll for her to just get up there. So
Yeah.
she goes up there with you and looks, while BB is very deftly, like there's a point where your foot just hits a piece of rock that shifts slightly under your foot, but you catch yourself and you jump off of it onto the next one. And that parkour training, it really kicks in, and you do your way down onto soft sand. And you make your way around the corner enough to see the same thing that Haramon can see from up above. About 30 feet out from where you are, you see that there is a massive worm-like creature that has emerged from the ground. It's about the size of a bus, and it's like 3/4 of the way unburrowed from the sand out of a hole that it created, where sand is just sort of funneling down in the place left behind. You see that it has just slick yellowish, like pale yellowish skin. It's segmented like a millipede and has several little legs in comparison to its body, but huge compared to a person. But you notice that the face has this huge toothy maw and no distinguishable eyes, and then it has these 2 big, almost lobster claw-like muscular arms out in the front that it uses to dig. And they end in these, they're almost like serrated shovels. And it is currently swiping and swiping. And you can see from this distance, just barely, 2 figures. One of them seems to be probably wounded because they're on the ground. And the other is fighting with a spear. From this distance, you can't make out a lot of features. They look kinda young from what you can tell. They're clearly decked out in almost Mad Max style, pieced together leathers and linens that have been like sewn out of things that have been hunted and found.
Am I close enough that I can? Does the creature have eyes? Can
No.
I see?
The creature does not seem to have eyes.
Okay. So it's got a mouth.
It's got a big old mouth full of rows of teeth, and it is, you can see blood on the claws, and the person who's unconscious is like holding their stomach and is like kind of writhing on the ground, and the other is standing between the worm and this person. That scream sounded scared at first, but now it's turned into just like, ah! Ah! Like, as you see this spear is held out, and they are just frantically trying to jab at this thing.
I try to shoot at one of the claws.
You can try to shoot at one of the claws. It hasn't seen you yet, so I will allow everyone to do one action roughly at the same time before they enter, if you intend to enter combat with this thing.
I do.
Okay, so you can go ahead and take a surprise shot. I'm going to say, I'm not going to make you roll stealth or anything because you're far enough away. It is clearly engaged with someone else. This is the benefit of you.
Our dice a D12, right?
Yes.
Full successes. 4 out of 4.
4 out of 4. Okay, so go ahead and roll your damage.
Are they, I,
7. That's not great.
but it's better than nothing.
That's true.
Mhm.
That's very true.
So the 2 of them, are they near the other rock structure? Are they they're near our rock? Sorry, I need the geography.
They are about 30 feet out from this rock structure that you are on.
Okay.
Just from the fighter's perspective, just out of the night, there comes this bolt of light, and it just singes off to like 3 of the claws, or 2 of the claws, maybe.
So it's only got the 2 big meaty claws, and then a bunch of
God.
little like millipede legs.
Maybe it gets some of the legs then, or something.
Yeah, you can definitely shoot at with 7 damage. I think you probably can like singe off the end of one of the legs, and it like is kind of stumped out, and you hear it squeal, this horrible bubbling sound as it swivels its head away. It was in the middle of about to make a bite attack on this person with the spear, and it rears up and looks back toward you with its eyeless face. Does anyone else take an action in this like pre-surprise phase?
I'm just gonna yell to... Yes, I'm just gonna yell. Jeremy, BB, do you think you can hold it long enough for us to get the wounded one inside?
Well, I can certainly try, and I'll use my action to use my Firefly ability to join Silhouette and Haremon at the top of the outcropping, and I'll
Cool.
kneel down.
Wow.
Nice, Sniper's Roost. So everyone is in position. I'm going to need initiative rolls.
Okay.
Catch this one.
With agility, right?
Yes.
Ooh, poopy. Poopy indeed. The fat 6. The fat 6.
6.
Yeah.
That's a 16, baby.
Ooh.
Wait, do you add the number
Yes.
that your agility is? Oh, that's a 19, baby.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait, no, you don't add that. No. You just
That's a
add together the dice
16,
that you roll.
baby.
Yeah. And Jeremy.
2.
2.
That's all I need. I only have 1 agility, guys.
You want me to roll for Silhouette?
I already did.
Oh, he's prepared.
But I don't want to like control Silhouette in the battle every time. So when it gets to Silhouette's turn, what I'm going to have you guys do is you'll just decide what she does. If that's cool.
Of course.
He's writing stuff down. This is the writing stuff down song. This is the writing stuff down song.
Squad.
Okay, so we have the initiative all in order, and unsurprisingly, as usual, going first is BB.
She's
Um,
so freaking fast. So fast.
So BB takes a shot, and almost even before its head fully turns to look at in our direction, she's already fired another shot, and it goes glaring off into the night. Roll that attack again. This time she is trying to go for the claws, the big meaty claws. All right, so I got 3 successes, no success on the power die.
Got it. So I only rolled a 2, so you do hit with 1d6.
That's another 4 damage, baby.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
And she will kind of start to maneuver herself, kind of like strafe over. So if Jeremy is on kind of like a plateau above her, she's like right below him.
Okay. So have you gotten a little bit closer technically?
Yeah, I'm kind of going diagonally closer.
Okay. Because next in the initiative is this mysterious spear person. First of all, I'm going to put this down because this is on unstable ground and it keeps shaking and going blah, 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 water bottle noises. Okay, so you see this figure with a spear. Now that you're getting a closer look at them, they look maybe like 16 or 17. They're young. And you don't see any like decorative trophies or anything like that. You don't see any like teeth. You just see like these simple hides pieced together. You see someone who is female presenting, but you don't know. You see that she has dark brown skin. She has very curly hair that is shaved into a big curly mohawk that is tied in various places and then poofs out in the back. But there is also a single braid on either side coming out from the temple as well. So it's kind of a triple hawk. 2 of them being braids, 1 of them just being curls.
Oh, like how I do. Oh, it's me.
Yeah. She has, or they have white markings that are coming down from the temple through the eyebrow and then arc diagonally back across the cheeks. And you see that this spear that they're brandishing is actually moving somewhat. The tip of the spear has like a chainsaw, and you see that there's a cord wrapped around it, and there's like a small mechanism around where they're holding it. And you see that they pull a trigger when they thrust, and the spear tip goes. Whirr.
That's awesome. I Love that. Holy shit.
So I can't tell you their name yet because you don't know it, but they're just gonna like look for a moment. They're like vaguely distracted, but the creature is also distracted because it looks at you, and they seize that moment and like shake their head a little bit, and then look back at the creature and just go, ah! And then just thrust up into its chest while it's like kind of up and perching.
Hey, that thing's pretty cool.
Pep
Maybe
talk.
gesturing at the weapon.
Okay. So that's 3 successes. Pretty good. Versus 2 successes. So they do hit with a success on the specialty die for the spear. That's going to give us 2d6. 6, 7 plus 3 is 10.
Stab him.
So they deal 10 points of damage, enough to sever a leg completely.
Yeah.
So in this moment where it's reared up, they take this chainsaw spear and just stab up, actually into empty air, and then carve down and just cleave off one of the legs. And that is going to be the end of their turn. They don't move at all. They stay distinctly between the creature and their friend.
That's hardcore as hell.
Do you guys want a description of the friend who's on the ground now, or do you think you wouldn't have looked at them yet?
I mean, Haramon's
Baby's
definitely
probably looking at them.
Yeah, Haramon's looking, but they're probably too far right now. So if BB
As
is
the person who needs to be saved in the situation, BB is like looking at them.
Okay, so I can describe now if you want. The figure who is on the ground clearly has a large slash mark across the stomach that could be fatal if not treated pretty quickly. It could also maybe be worse, but you would need a closer look. Haramon specifically would need a closer look at that. But you see someone who is maybe a year younger, but within the window of like could be the same age as their friend. This other person is their leathers are more like in black and gray rather than in like browns and deep crimsons. And you see a very round-faced and freckle-faced young teen who's very pale and has kind of floppy black hair that falls down into their face. They look more male presenting, but consciousness fading, very clearly clutching. And also, I think scattered to the sand next to them, you can clearly see that there is a slingshot that is just like scattered to the ground next to him. Yeah. And that is who you see. So moving now down to the creature's turn, the creature known as the Gravedigger.
Oh, no. That's not good.
To quote some famous lyricists, "Mommy, what's a gravedigger?"
I think having lost a leg to this creature, by its standards, a creature, to this person, and then it kind of cries out, it's going to go with where its attention is, and it's going to grind across the dirt over to BB as it fully emerges from its hole, and you can now see its full, roughly the size of a bus form. It crawls over to you pretty easily because you're within like 20-25 feet of it, and it is easily like 15 or so. How big is a bus? It's big. So it is going to take its claw attacks against you, BB.
BB immediately says, "Ah, yes, the consequences of my actions." Am I rolling agility?
Yeah, you're rolling your dodge check.
Fuck, dude. What the heck?
Actually, that's a 4 out of 3.
That's a 7. So you are going to get hit. There are 2 d12s associated with this attack. And one of them was a failure and one of them was a success. So that is going to be 3d6 of damage. Plus 6. Sorry. That's it. 7. Okay, that could have been way worse. So 7 plus 6 is 13. So you take 13 points of damage from the first claw.
All right.
And the second claw comes swiping at you as well. Oh no.
It's only a 3 out of 3.
3.
I don't know if there's a reality in which I can dodge this.
Yeah. 4. 5. So that's 5. But one of the power die is a 12. So this one's gonna hurt.
Oh no, baby.
Sorry, spear person, your friend's gonna die. We gotta save ours.
So you take 23 points of damage on the second claw.
BB's down. Rip. All right. Let the bodies hit the floor.
So you're unconscious, BB?
Yeah.
Okay. So as soon as you're unconscious, it doesn't actually seem like it's interested in eating. It is in pure survival mode at this moment. And as soon as it registers that you're down, it immediately turns its attention back on the first thing that it can sense. Looking around, it doesn't actually seem to have registered. There's no point where its face swivels in the direction of you guys up on the rock. So it's immediately going to use its movement to... It can't burrow in this turn because it attacked. So it just turns back in the direction of the 2 young teens. And that's the Gravedigger's turn. We now go to Silhouette. So is there anything that you guys want Silhouette to do specifically?
Did we ever establish at any point in time if Silhouette has a grappling hook? And why would she bring it? I don't know.
I think Silhouette can put a grappling hook attachment on her thingaloo.
And is her Hubba Bubba Thingaloo, is that mechanical? It's just the shock is...
It is a purely mechanical device. The shock probably won't work right now.
Yeah, because it's electrical, but it will still work. Okay.
Mhm.
If no one else has a better idea, I would like Silhouette to attach said grappling hook and use the thingaloo to rappel down, and also, which would also give Haramone a quicker way down to BB's level.
Okay.
Sounds good
I
to me.
was
She's not rolling
gonna
against
suggest
it.
something similar but kind of different.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wait, hit it.
Maybe Silhouette uses the grappling hook to try and hook BB and pull BB up to us.
That would hurt so bad, though.
I mean, she's already unconscious. What's worse?
Well,
I'm pretty fucked up already, I suppose.
doing damage to a person who is down, that is the closest analogy. That is kind of D&D adjacent,
Carl,
where you'll get a bad saving throw from taking damage. So there's a chance it would work, and there's if it fails, it could be a bad saving throw.
I think that your idea is better, but I think that mine is a lot funnier.
So, and she's got gadgets. Okay.
Do,
So 1,
do.
2, 3. So 4 out of 5. So she is able to do it.
Yes.
She takes a small actual grappling hook attachment that actually folds in on itself. She clicks it up into place, another purely mechanical device, and the hooks go and fold outward to form the actual hooks. She then twists it on to the end of the opening where the rope would come out, and then she clicks the button, and fishing rod just sort of whooshes it out from her person with a big shoulder throw, and it snags on some pretty sturdy rock. And do you want her to rappel down?
Yes, because she can't really do anything when she's up here.
Yeah. So she does. She rappels down.
And then, so that was probably her main action.
Yeah.
I forget all of the gadgets that she has.
Yeah.
I want her to throw something or create a vibrational distraction for this worm. Because I feel like Hermone and Silhouette's main function right now is buying time or
Right.
medicine checking, but I don't know if she has anything that would do that. Certainly nothing electrical that would
Yeah.
work right now.
Yeah, and I would also posit as well that to do the grappling hook thing, she had to take it out and activate it,
So-
fix it to the thing. So that probably was her minor action. So she's probably done for this turn.
I think, oh my God, the thing is, I would do this, but would Silhouette do this? Would she use the rest of her movement to try to scramble down and get into the sand to be the distraction herself?
I don't think she would do that, but I think she would try and get closer to BB, like staying
Yeah.
on the rocks, but move closer to BB.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
She used a bit of movement. There is no set like movement in this game. There's just stacking success. So like every degree of success that you did previously will mean that you have the space to do more stuff to a
Mhm.
point. So she succeeded pretty well on doing the things she did. So she could use the momentum and get a little bit closer, probably about 10 feet
Okay.
closer. So she's still maybe like 5 feet out from BB, depending on where you were.
Mhm. And I guess that's her turn,
Which now makes it your turn.
which makes it my turn.
Teacher, I know I only got 2 in my initiative, but
I got a 6.
oh wait, that's right.
Yeah.
Six
thought you
is
already
higher
win.
than two.
Nope.
No, it's just because I just went a Silhouette.
Did so
Oh, right,
stuff.
that's how I got confused.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'll wear the dunce hat and sit in the corner.
And we'll allow it for now.
So the fact that she's created this avenue for me to come down, does that
Mhm.
mean I can accomplish a little bit more in terms of movement and stuff?
I think the purpose of a grappling hook is as such that now that it's fixed by another person and it's secure, it can now just contribute to movement, or you can just use your minor action and still have your full movement.
If I use movement instead of minor action, would I get to BP?
I would have you roll a agility check
Okay.
to see if you could like do it.
That's too much of a risk. So I'll just take the minor action to rappel down and get to BB, and then I'll do a first aid check on BB, which is
Excellent.
which is what stat?
First aid check?
Yeah.
It could be
Dexterity?
because are you trained in it?
Yeah.
So you could use dexterity for it.
Okay.
Otherwise, it could easily be intelligence. I don't think it's willpower.
Well, I have so many 3s. I just wanted to know.
Because you're trained in it, it's not something you have to remember how to do. So I think it's dexterity to execute it.
If when you re-roll, do you have to take the new roll, or can I choose?
I don't think it matters because you can't re-roll to try and get a 6. You can only re-roll something that failed, and there's no critical failure.
Oh, you're so right. I completely forgot about that. So then that's a 3 out of 3.
Full success.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So on a full success, there are no D12s associated with it, right?
No, because it's not. Oh, wait. Yes, there is. Because I have a healing power now. Oh my god. Crazy.
Yeah.
I remember my own shit. That's a 12. Full success
Oh.
and a critical success.
So go ahead and roll.
Thank you.
Phoebe is my precious. I will protect her till the end.
You rolled a 12, so it doubles.
Yes.
They are
So,
my savior.
Roll 4d6, and BB will heal that much.
4d6.
Yeah.
Schmauzows.
Okay, so that's 14 points of healing in your backup, baby.
I owe you my life.
4d6 got to 14. Hell yeah.
Yeah, because 5 plus 5 plus 4.
Amazing. So BB, I think this is the first time that you've really been like I mean, it's certainly the first time you've been revived by this power.
Yeah.
I think you did the like hand cutting thing before to test
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but this feels distinctly different. Like you feel yourself fade out, but only like 6-ish seconds go by before you're like, you don't gasp back to consciousness. Your breathing comes like, and your eyes flutter, and you reach down and you see that you are covered in blood, but your wounds are closed.
Yeah. And I think, just to add a little more spice, I think when Haramon is intending to use it as a more effective thing rather than a more immediate, like literal band-aid, it has to be like inhaled. So I think you just see Haramon kneel down over BB's body and position her head so that her airway is as clear as it can be. And as BB is breathing shallowly, Haramon puts their forehead against her forehead and lets it go. And so essentially BB's own breathing as Haramon is held there is what brings them back.
As BB wakes up, she like puts her hands over Haramon's hands if they're positioned like on her face. Thanks.
What did we get into? Oh my god. Okay.
Nothing good.
And we move over to Jeremy's turn.
Literally dropped us 5 seconds into like Australia or something. Jeremy will just kneel down on his ridge, and he'll make like a little radio out of fire, and he'll kneel into it and just say, "Lightbringer to Inferno, coming Inferno, you have mission danger close," and you'll see this giant AC-130 gunship just form and fly around and shoot down into this worm.
Well, let's see if we see that.
I mean,
that is an intelligence build.
Yeah, I'm only saying that because like it's either that or he's just like, oh, he just shoots fire at it. That just
right.
seems like
Either
more
way,
fun.
it's the aesthetics of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if this hits.
This was the most Ben thing you've ever said on the show.
Oh, you fucking thing.
You fucking thing.
1 out of 6. No power.
No.
What the fuck are with these dice, man?
So, yeah, I rolled 2, so it does not.
Damn.
Well, it circles. It's still there.
Yeah, so I think how would you like to flavor a reason why it does not hit? If you want to.
I mean, the first thing that came into my mind is that it just missed.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
it just right next to it. It's
Yeah,
like,
sometimes it's not spicy. Sometimes it just misses. So
Sorry,
you
guys. Never used this one before.
I think
Weird
it's
angles.
that's a very detailed construct. And so like you created the construct and then like in the short amount of time it just didn't connect.
Yeah. I'll get it next time. Just don't die.
Yep. Any other minor actions or movements?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm safe up here.
Taco's good out here.
So then we move back up to the top with a refreshed, not dead BB.
Not dead BB.
Well, not unconscious BB.
BB shakes it off. Sits up, gets up. How far is it away?
It only was able to turn. It used its movement to like get over to you, and then it turned afterward back. So its big old worm butt is like 5 to 10 feet away from you, if that.
It's dump
Okay.
truck or
I want to get a little bit closer to it, so I can hit it with a concussive blast. I'm trying to kind of like ring its bell so it gets confused for the next turn, and maybe it gets disadvantage on trying to hit me because
Okay.
I'm assuming it's obviously not moving by sight.
Eric, you're
So
so smart. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Concussive blast, you said.
Ring my bell.
Wow.
Ring
exactly
my
what I was
bell.
thinking.
Ding ding. What?
All right. That is a 4 out of 4 with a 12 on the power die.
Oh.
So let me
Let's go.
tell you something here, audience. You just rolled a full success with a critical on the power die. I just rolled triple ones. Now there are no critical failures in this game per se, but when you roll 0 successes, then something bad happens. It's not like a 1 on the die is worse than anything else, but it's just when you roll nothing. A 0 out of anything is a critical failure. Critical failure versus critical maximum success means whatever you accomplish or whatever you want to be accomplished here, short of just straight killing it, you can accomplish that goal and then some. So what do you want to happen here?
Haremone wakes BB up. BB's eyes open and she chooses violence. She stands up, literally brushes the dust off of her shoulders, and just slowly walks over to it, puts both of her handguns up, and like you almost, I think I use this description a lot in general D&D, but like the Ghibli hair standing on end, you almost feel this concussive force building up in her, and then shoots out of her fingertips, and it like literally rattles the skeleton of this thing, and it's maybe some of its organs kind of just dissolve inside of its body with how intense the vibration is, and it just kind of starts writhing on the ground, unable to make sense of where it is or what's happening to it. Incapacitated.
It is functionally incapacitated for 1 round. So
Yes.
you just removed it from this turn.
Yes.
So it does not get a round.
Yes.
The other thing too, it's still a critical hit, so you still deal the damage you would deal too. So you can go ahead and roll,
Nice.
because you rolled, it was a D12, right?
Yes.
So it's that's 46.
We love it.
Yeah.
We absolutely love it.
Those organs, they're getting
I'll
got.
be right back. They're getting caught. Okay. We are talking 15 damage.
Ooh, a baby.
BB make a big BB make a big noise.
It's hurt. It is very hurt.
I think you see the sand kind of like for a second just go up in a sheet around it and then fall back down.
The concussive blast reverberates up through it, and you actually do see a little bit of like dark bruising, like blood is seeping up against the outer carapace, because it is ever so faintly translucent, just enough that when the light hits it the right way and that bruising starts, you can see the internal bleeding. And it does writhe, and its head, it's squealing, and its head is shaking in every direction, and it does not know where to go or who to attack. You are 100% right that this thing sees based on movement. It doesn't have eyes. So when you disrupt its equilibrium, it has nothing to do. You destroyed this thing's turn and hurt it very badly.
Hey.
So,
God, I fucking love Bang Bang.
and that brings us back down to our mysterious chainsaw spear-wielding team. So, they're gonna take a little stab at it. Seeing this moment, you hear this, like, these primal screams that have been coming out of this person of just like, I am going to kill this thing and protect my friend. There's like this as the spear just like they go straight for the back of the chest. As it, well, it's on its back, so they're going like for the right here.
Where the heart go?
Assuming this thing even has one.
A worm with no
This
heart.
team loves to laugh because they just absolutely love the Joker.
And
Just their
then
favorite
I'm gonna
character.
give
What if the Joker was just a normal guy?
Yeah, it's just a guy.
I'm gonna give full advantage
Yes.
to this attack
Ooh,
because
Yes.
it's incapacitated, and I cannot stress enough a fucking critical versus literally nothing.
yeah.
Full success, full advantage on this, which means all of these guys are getting rerolled.
I would like to apologize for wearing a jingly jangly necklace. I did it for the fashion. Yes.
I have not heard it at all. But
Cool.
yeah.
Just checking in.
And it's gonna have full disadvantage.
Christ.
Okay, so that it still has 2 on that, and they roll 2. The tie
Goes to the
goes to the
attacker.
attacker. Yes, that is true. So they still hit.
They still hit. That's the D6, baby.
And now the power die, well, not power die, but the spear die
the spear die.
is 10, which makes it 2d6.
Let's go, Chainsaw Team.
That was the sound of it. If that picked up on the mic. Doot. Oh. So 9 plus 3 is 12 points of damage,
12.
which is a lot right now. So they just carve straight into it. And you hear this sound as blood is arcing, just but the blood that's coming out is like getting caught in the rotation of the spear. So it is arcing like in a circle.
Ew, it's gooey.
It's
like
gross.
slime.
It's nasty.
As the blood is arcing off of it, BB looks over the writhing body of this monster and goes, "Hey, fellow teen, what's your name?" Oh wait, no, I forgot we're waiting for Ben to introduce that character. Fuck.
Well, the thing is, they are so lost in the sauce of this moment, they don't even hear you.
Fair
They're
enough.
just like
Cut that out.
Lollipop chainsaw head ass.
Now
Yeah.
this would be the Gravedigger's turn, but you deturned
Can't
it
do
for
shit.
this round. So its turn is essentially just like righting itself so that it will have a turn next time if it even gets that far, which doesn't look promising at this exact moment. That then makes it Silhouette's turn. Shall we use the power of editing to allow Ben to come back to confer with the Silhouette turn?
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. And just like that, he returns. So,
Mhm.
Ben, do you have any input on what you would like Silhouette to do this time?
Let me not burp into the mic. No, not really. I mean, y'all know what Silhouette can do better than I can, so.
Yeah, I think the best thing would probably be for Silhouette to aid Haramon in this inevitable first aid medicine situation. Just because most of her gadgets are electrical.
Mhm.
Like her hubba bubba whip is the only mechanical thing she has. So, and we know that it sees through vibration. So being invisible doesn't really help anything. So
That feels like something Silhouette would do anyway, so
yeah,
I'm down.
Cool.
based.
So you want her to specifically what? Like run over?
Just making her way towards the downed teen.
Okay.
Mhm.
And just put herself between them and the
Yeah,
one?
just be another body.
one,
I
yeah.
think Haramon will, just for good measure, despite it looking very rough, it's still alive, so the threat isn't over.
Mhm.
I think Haramon will just hand her their knife because they're about to be in the sand. She's about to be in the sand.
Mhm.
So yes.
So Silhouette does run over and makes it to this person.
Mhm.
Around the time that the chainsawing stops. Although I think maybe they would like stay there, but they're very aware, this other person is very aware of like what's happening
Mhm.
around them and around their friend. And they do sort of half turn when Silhouette approaches, but Silhouette like gets between them and tries to make like a, like a nod of like, it's okay. But Silhouette looks a little freaked out, but she's like doing it. She's good. And she is now there. So this person makes the executive decision that like, I don't really know what's happening. I'm going to keep killing this thing. And we move down to Haramon's turn.
So, okay. Can I get to this person and still do the action of using my power?
Yes.
Sick.
Because now you're within like 20 feet.
Let's do it, girls. Okay.
Let's go, girl.
Let's go, girl.
Do.
You got this.
So it's still a first aid check with,
But it's with your power die.
but with power die. So I can still re-roll one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, didn't really help. But it's still a full success.
Okay.
It's a 4 out of 4.
Okay.
With a
What's on the
6.
power die?
A 10. With
A 10. So
success.
it's 2d6 healing.
Yes, correct. Not as good. This might be a band-aid situation. The band-aid versus like long-term more effective thing is not really a mechanical thing. It's sort of like what Haramon is trying to accomplish in the moment.
For sure.
What's spiciest for the thing, do I add my willpower to it? Because I'm using my power for the healing?
At the moment, yeah, that makes sense for a power roll like this.
Okay. So
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
So then BB's actually at 17.
Yeah, give BB one.
And
I think that makes more
Thank
sense.
you.
and this person is at 9.
9's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. So you use your power and it seems to spread through down into the stomach wound, and you see the wound close. And this person's eyes, this kid's eyes, don't have the like white down the face markings that their friend has. Instead, they seem to just have like charcoal black smeared across both eyes, and the eyes just open, and there's an immediate fear.
Whoa. I think Haramon just takes out a wad of leaves and outstretches it to them and says, "This is a painkiller. You're going to start feeling a lot of pain very soon. Chew it."
That I'm trying to determine if that can happen in like one turn when you used your power.
Yeah.
Because I
Minor action.
to minor action, but still has to take the space of 6 seconds.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it would be a very condensed version of that. I think you could probably, because like the
There's a
power
painkiller, you just do
easily
it.
Get it?
the power easily takes some seconds to like kick in. So yeah.
I don't have to. Also, we can
But
scrap it.
he wakes up.
It just seemed like you were waiting for me to say something.
No, I mean, he wakes up and like I think just for the moment, yeah, you use the power and you're like, oh, like calm, and he like looks around like, where am I? What's happening? Oh God. And that brings us down to Jeremy's turn.
Lightbringer to Inferno, please do not embarrass me. And he'll do the same thing again.
What was that?
I don't know.
It was me nutting in my fucking pants.
Shit. Hell yeah.
Oh, I was
Hell yeah,
so
my brother
close.
is right.
I was so close to having a critical on every dice.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yo.
Only one. I got a 5 on a d6 and an 11 on the power dice, but the rest of them
Oh.
are
Well,
crits. So that's
I seem to
8,
not be able to roll
9,
defense
10.
on this creature. It doesn't have a lot of defense. It is kind of just a big tank thing. But I rolled no successes, so
Oh, that's a 10 out of 6. No crit on the power, but
Still. Hot.
so
it's still 2d6 plus your intelligence.
2d6 plus intelligence. Oh, that sucked. Yeah,
Oh, no.
sorry, future editor, but you just got your ears blown out. That's only an 8.
8 points.
Bad.
That's still a lot. That's hefty.
I
Still
rolled a
lot.
2 and a 1.
So you singe across this thing. It's still with the plane, right? So you just see these pock marks of just like charred, smoking holes just all across its form. And it twitches. And for a moment, you think that it might be dead. And as we move over to the top of the round again, it just barely thrashes itself around and it picks the claws up, and it is still barely alive.
Bro.
Which brings us once again to BB.
BB looks at it writhing on the ground, cracks her knuckles, puts the 2 guns up once again, and unloads the concussive blast into it.
Okay.
Let me roll.
Rolling. Whoa.
Only 2 successes out of 4 that time. Success on the power die. Oh wait, I can re-roll. I forgot. I have the sharpshooter ability.
Let's go.
No, never mind. That's the same thing.
So it's 2?
The exact same thing. Yeah.
So now I roll pretty okay,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
rolls 3. So you fire, and it spasms. It actually rolls with its cylindrical body across, and you see the shot just kick up a huge, like, mound of dirt.
BB spits some dirt out of her mouth.
Don't you have 2 shots in a turn?
Yeah.
You have
I
a
think I
second
did.
shot that doesn't add. You just don't add the modifier afterward. But
I forgot.
that could, depending on how you roll, kill it. So, at this
Let's
moment,
go. Do I get the sharpshooter ability on that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 out of 4 success on the power die.
I roll 1.
Thank God.
What was the power die?
It's a 7 again.
So 2d6 with no modifier.
How does 5 do?
5 is promising. Is that 5 successes or 5 damage?
5 damage.
5 damage.
Okay. It has 4 hit points left.
Oh, thank goodness.
So,
Let's go.
how does BB kill this worm?
Scream.
I don't like this is kind of silly. No. No, okay. She hits down to the dust, it pops up in her face, gets in her eyes, she spits it out, and she just listens for the sound of it moving, and then puts her hand out and shoots with a concussive blast and kills it.
That's so fucking cool. So as you shoot it with a concussive blast, I think the image of this is like it's trying to do a crunch. It's trying to roll back like any way it can, using its claws to brace itself on the ground and find any solid footing again, missing several of its legs, full of smoking holes, bleeding internally. You see the bruising all across its body, and you listen to that movement and you fire the concussive blast, and you all hear something break. And you see a massive, like, just basketball-sized dent in its chest. Just go, no blood, no anything. Just a dent, and it just and soundlessly slumps to the ground. As this happens, it rolled over in a fashion that, like, this spear wielder had the spear like digging in. They didn't pull it out. So when it rolled over and thrashed, they had to like get out of there and stumble, right? And I'm just going to say, for the sake of narrative, that they like stayed on their feet, but they step over, they take a half step toward the dead creature, and then immediately like shake their head a little bit, look back at their friend who is now getting up, and like, what's going on?
Hermone's like, if they'll let them, supporting their weight.
Shay, and he looks over, and you see that this other figure, presumably Shay, steps over and puts themselves between you. They try to like take this other person from you. I got him. And they look over all of you, and they don't quite let themselves soften, but you can clearly see, Haramone specifically can see, seeing the wound closed, like there is a palpable relief that they are fighting from showing in order to peacock in front of you guys. No roll required. That is obvious. This kid can't hide their emotions that well. And they like sort of touch over where the wound is, and you hear a wince, like, and they turn back to you, all of you, and they go, "Thanks for the assist. Now, if you don't mind me asking, who the hell are you?" And that is where we will pick up next time.
Yay!
Oh, you guys, I was so excited for this one. It was fun to do combat again, especially
yeah.
against a big old worm.
Big
I
old
love a big old worm.
Yeah. And
Shitty-ass worm.
maybe next time we'll learn a little bit about the worm and who these mysterious desert teens are. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Keep it super.
Bye.
Worm.
Bye.
Worm.
Worm. Okay, bye.